you don't really need an introduction. I feel like you see you cutting stuff like everywhere, but
yeah, I'm Todd Clouser.
Unbelievable. So what's new in your world? Because you've got a whole lot going on.
I mean, I did start a business about 2 months ago, so I'm on my own now, which is nice. It's funny how much you can do when you're on your own, because you have full control.
Yeah,
but it's going good.
What's been the most surprising thing so far? Maybe in a good way or a bad way, or both?
I think for me, when I first did it, I was very scared that I wouldn't have a lot of business.
Yeah,
I was going on a leap, so I was a little worried about that.
You're doing your own thing now.
Yeah.
B2B Rizz is, I think,
B2B
the name
Rizz
of
is the company.
What are some of the big things that you're working on right now?
I hate saying this, but like I'm at capacity essentially. So
good problem to have.
Yes, it is. It is. So I'm really on like a productivity kick. Hired a virtual assistant. I'm hiring another one soon. I'm just trying to figure out, because it's just me and I don't want to hire people.
Yep.
Trying to figure out how to get more of my time.
Yeah, love it. So maybe it was at Directive. That's probably. What was the last tool that you bought? And kind of let's riff on what that evaluation process looked like.
Last tool I bought was Metadata.
Okay.
Heard of it? You know it. Yeah. You think you know a little bit. When I bought it, there was really no evaluation. Just because I knew the problem I had, and that was the solution.
Yep.
I did, but I knew about it for 2 years before that, though. So there was a kind of a build up to it, and it's just like, all right, here's the time.
Yep.
I got the budget now. Like, it was just timing.
Yeah. So this is totally unplanned, but this is awesome. So that build up that you mentioned, it's kind of like marketing to people who aren't in market right now. So then when they are in market, hey, they go buy you. So what kind of stood out to you, during that process and made you shortlist Metadata before you were ready to even buy Metadata?
I wish I had one or two things to say, but it was just like a number of different things.
It's never one or two things.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like it's you and Jason who are, spearing it, and they're, you guys talked about it on LinkedIn. There was in many communities I was in. I went to actually an event here, event for Metadata in New York City.
That was when we first met.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a customer at the time, but it was just kind of, I knew you and Jason, and that helped me kind of understand Metadata a little bit more and like the roadmaps. There was, I've seen the ads. There's a lot of different touch points. I think also your positioning against ABM platforms, because, I mean, in theory, I could have went with an ABM platform, but it's not what I was looking for.
Yeah. Do you think ABM platforms will still be a thing?
Yeah.
2 years from now, 5 years from now?
Yes, because they've done a pretty good job on... Terminus did a really good job on explaining or thinking you need an ABM platform to do ABM.
Yeah.
And as much as our bubble thinks you don't need those, a lot of companies still think you do. And don't get me wrong, some of them are great, and they have different AI built into it now, and there's all these other things, but it kind of depends on your budget too. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of factors to it, but I think they're going to be around. There's going to be probably some consolidation.
Yeah, I would bet on that too. All right, I'm going to let you get on your soapbox. What's the biggest issue that you have with buying software?
One of my biggest qualms with it is when I tell you I want to get a demo, or basically I want to learn about your product to buy.
Yep.
I know you need sales, and you don't even reach back out when I request a demo. Just not completely ghosted. Now, was I qualified? Maybe, maybe not. And I've tried this in my own company now. I've tried this when I was a directive in a different title, in a different employee size. I've tried fake emails that are from good companies.
Yeah. It blows my mind that still happens fairly regularly in 2024.
Yeah. Some of it's CRM problems, some of it's data problems. We've all been there. I've had issues where you do a test lead and it just doesn't go anywhere and you didn't know how long it took.
Yep.
But it's way too common, and I'm not the only one.
Yes.
It just makes some sense.
All right, so that was the first one. It sounded like you might have a short list here.
Yeah, I mean, a very similar story is I request a demo. It's a thank you page that says we'll reach out at some point in life. Well, just give me a schedule link. I put in my company size. I put in my all the things you asked. Sometimes it's just funny. The pricing I can go back and forth on the pricing, but I will say if you have a pricing page and there's no pricing, it's just kind of like you're pumping up the tires, and then I'm about to ride the bike, and then you just slash them.
There's nothing worse than going to a pricing page with, let's just say there's 3 tiers, and it's talk to sales, talk to sales, talk to sales.
Every time, yep. Because I know, as a marketer, I know what you're doing. It's just an SEO thing.
Yeah.
I get what you're doing, but I hate it.
Yeah, unbelievable. When you're buying new tools or evaluating new tools, what are the types of things that you're looking at? What are the most important requirements to you?
I mean, I will say price is usually a thing. You gotta stay within a budget at some point. I wouldn't say it's the end all be all. Everyone's been burned by cheap things too. That the current customer kind of feedback, your word of mouth stuff, just understanding, talking to people that you trust. And because one, I don't have much time to do that much research. I'd rather just go to the people that are using it and ask the questions I have without a sales pitch on it. So it's just easier. But also for the most part, I trust those people.
So let's say a couple months from now, you might need to buy something for one of the clients that you have. Where do you start? Is it your network? Is it word of mouth? Is it? It's
usually going to be the network, and I don't typically just reach out to random people because I don't really know what everyone has bought. Some people I do, but I don't. But it's like Slack communities. For me, because I have a okay following on LinkedIn, I'll typically ask on LinkedIn because you'll get really good feedback at a good pretty good kind of scale.
Yep.
So it's those type of things, and obviously you have to. Once you post that, you're going to get some.
So I was going to ask. I've always thought about doing it, but I've been too nervous to do it. Do you just get blasted by SDRs and outreach from the?
I usually call it out in the post. I'm not going to respond to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't deter a lot of them. You just kind of have to weigh the pros and cons because there's also a lot of people that are going to give you really good feedback.
Yep.
And you're going to learn about tools that you didn't know about either. You get more of it's like qualitative and quantitative because you get more of a scale there. Like I did that. This is a lower cost thing, but I did that for one of those note taker tools, and I got a bunch of things that I didn't even know about. I was like, oh, that's right. Well, that's interesting.
Nice. So when you hear customer evidence, what are the first few things that come to mind?
The truth, actually. I don't know why I'm thinking of it, but that's the first thing that comes to mind is the truth.
This is the second interview that we've done, and both people have said the truth.
Oh, wow, okay. All right, I thought that was going to be a little bit weird.
No. So why do you think the truth?
Part of it is I've watched a lot of SVU type of shows, like NCIS shows, especially when I was young.
Yep.
And so when you said evidence, I was like, oh, okay. And then basically the evidence points to the truth. Typically, I mean, with some shenanigans sometimes, but there's always shenanigans. But it speaks to the truth usually. You can't hide the evidence. I don't think. Well, you can, but I'm going down a tangent now.
I don't know if you had to do this at Directive. You probably have to do it for yourself now with your own thing. But how do you go about gathering customer evidence?
It's usually just talking to. Actually, okay. Right now, I don't have to do it much.
So you're hiding evidence.
Fair enough. When I was at Directive, there was a time where we had to do it, and it's pretty painful. You have to reach out to the customer.
Yep.
You have to schedule an interview. You have to go through sometimes you have to go through the legal parts. Those are very annoying. And
usually at the 11th hour. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely times where you do an interview with a customer and then you find out there's legal problems and you can't even use it.
Yep.
Or it's just, you don't ask the right questions and it's kind of troubling.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a super problematic process and it's something that we hear consistently from everyone. So last question for you, kind of broad, but a big one. How do you go about building trust in marketing?
Probably customers. Those quotes. The best ones is if it's from someone might know, and in the B2B world, it's very small.
Yep.
So if you can get a quote from someone that's like a similar title, that's probably the best way, just because they kind of relate with them, but also, for the most part, people aren't going to lie on these quotes. These people aren't just going to give them a quote if it's like a bad service or product.
Yep. Yeah. Although it is funny, though, having to create evidence in past lives where people are like, oh yeah, just write whatever quote you want from me and then I'll approve it.
This is true.
So it is funny. I kind of look at it, with a different lens, just knowing what goes on behind the scenes, and especially with case studies, it's like you want to make your product sound like this world-beating thing with a 9,000% ROI that you see it and you just don't really believe it.
See, those type of things, when you do see like 300%, 600%, whatever it is, you just know either they were doing something really bad before, or it's just like 1 to 6 type of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Which, those type of things. Like, I've actually been to the point where if it is that good, I'd rather not say that and do like increase it by 57% and kind of make up a number that's way less, but it just sounds more realistic.
So that's actually the route that we took when we did a Forrester TEI report at Metadata. We didn't want to just go find the top 3 performing customers. We found a top performing customer, a kind of middle of the pack customer, and then a customer who was performing, okay. And then looked at the 3 of those and got a much more realistic view of what you could expect. I like that. Instead of, hey, let's go cherry pick the 3 most outrageous performing customers and say, oh yeah, you buy it, this is how it's going to work for everybody. So. Yeah.
Well, that's just like, if you're hiring someone, like they're only going to give you the people that are going to either always going to have your back or, whatever it is.
Yep.
It's just the same concept.
Exactly. All right. Well, this is fun. We'll work on getting you better fruit next time. Yeah, sorry, was it the bad pineapple or what was it? I
can't even stab it. That's how hard it is.